For more information, visit therapydogs.org. That's therapydogs.org.
What's up, everybody? This is Freddie Coleman of ESPN. Don't forget to listen to me every Wednesday at 5:45 on the Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The teams you care about.
The Patriots are now closer to the bottom of the AFC than the top. That's a fact.
The stories that matter to you.
Trevor Story, man, he makes the Red Sox much, much better in 2022.
This is your home for New England sports.
I'm just wondering what happens next for UVM, because I think there could be a lot of turnover on that roster.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show on a Thursday right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Full show, all 90 minutes. Once again today, we're up until 7 o'clock, and then we turn it over to Red Sox baseball. Sox taking on the White Sox Game 3 of the series, looking to win this series before coming back home for a very, very advantageous portion of their schedule. We talked earlier today with Buster Olney of ESPN. He's usually with us on Thursdays at 5:45. We've rearranged a couple of things just for today. You'll hear a portion of my conversation with Buster, but the full interview is available online. At 5:45 today, we're going to talk with Kevan Miller, former Boston Bruins defenseman who just retired before this season. UVM product, Kevan Miller is. We'll talk about his career, the Bees. We got some stuff on the Pats and Celtics. Of course, we got a little bit of everything. You can get in, as always, on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. That's 802-585-3026. Your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. Everybody, let's waste no time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. The Boston Celtics are 1 win away from the NBA Finals. They beat the Heat last night, 93-80 in Game 5. They lead the series 3-2. They can close it out tomorrow night in Boston. I am so jacked up about this. I have been waiting for this opportunity for years. I have been very fortunate since I got to Vermont to see a lot of great stuff. I've seen a Red Sox World Series. I've seen Patriots Super Bowls. I've traveled to Super Bowls, UVM in the NCAA tournament. I've seen the Bruins in the Stanley Cup. I have yet to see the Celtics get to an NBA Finals. I have waited for this for years, and we are finally on the doorstep. I waited, just like you did, through the Isaiah Thomas injuries, through the LeBron James-controlled East and waiting for that to break apart, through the Kyrie Irving regrettable dark ages, through COVID, through the NBA bubble, through Kemba Walker's bulky knee. We've been waiting for this, and it's finally almost here. The Celtics are on the verge, and they are bringing us with them. And what happened yesterday in Game 5 is pretty much exactly what we told you would happen, is it not? The Celtics are a team that can win any kind of game. We said they could win a defensive-minded fist fight. They did that yesterday. I mean, that game was ugly as all hell in the first half. The Celtics persevered, willed themselves through, had a great second half. They can win pretty. They can win ugly. They took the Heat's shots early on. Early on, we said Miami would come out with urgency. 16 second chance points for the Heat in the first half, forcing a bunch of turnovers. They brought the urgency. The Celtics stood their ground. They took the punches, and eventually they were able to just overpower Miami. The second half, the top-end talent took over in the second half. It played out exactly like we thought it would, right? Celtics could play any kind of game. If it was a defensive struggle, the Celtics could win. They did. They took the Heat's best punches early. They did. And the top-end talent for the Celtics took over in the second half. The second half was about Jason Tatum and about Jaylen Brown getting going, and they just did things that Miami had no answer for, especially in their kind of current banged-up state. Jason Tatum had 4 points in the first half. He had 18 in the second half. Jaylen Brown had 6 points in the first half. He had 19 in the second half. It wasn't the biggest performance ever from Tatum. It wasn't the biggest performance ever from Brown, but they showed why they are two players that you build around in today's NBA. I've seen Jason Tatum more dominant than he was last night. But yesterday we talked about his stock going up in these playoffs. That second half is why. He has the ability to take control of a game when it calls for it.
Tatum kicks it into the left corner. Horford drives it back to Tatum. Three-pointer on the way on the baseline. Splash, Boston.
I love it. Jason's now got 16, but 10 rebounds and 7 assists. Just keep grinding, Jason.
He did grind, and I give Jason Tatum real credit. I don't know how hurt he actually is. I don't want to over-dramatize it. I don't think Jason Tatum is playing through hockey-style injuries. I don't think he's a football-level gladiator. But Jason Tatum is clearly uncomfortable, especially shooting from distance, and he's finding a way to impact the game when he needs to. He still scored more than 20 points. He nearly had a triple-double yesterday. Jason Tatum, even with discomfort, is finding a way to step up. And shout out to Jaylen Brown also, because he was bad in the first half. Those 6 points, he had 4 turnovers in the first quarter alone. Second half, 19 points, no turnovers, and the most thunderous 2 of the night.
Brown with the ball, drives around the double, raises up, and caught another body underneath. Jaylen Brown says it with his chest.
The Celtics' second half was a complete turnaround. The third quarter was their biggest bugaboo in game 1. Yesterday, it was their biggest strength. The Celtics turned a 5-point halftime deficit into a 12-point lead heading into the fourth quarter, a 17-point turnaround in the third. They held Miami to 4 of 24 from the floor in that quarter. It was a dominant turnaround. I love what this Celtics team is right now. This Celtics team, it is everything that we love about teams usually. That's why I was so frustrated on Tuesday when I'm like, where is the love for this team? Because this team does everything that we want teams to do. They are a largely homegrown team. Tatum, Brown, Pritchard, Nesmith, Tice, Williams, homegrown players, smart. They're acquired players. They're not stars. Derek White, Al Horford. Maybe he was a star. At 35, he no longer is. But they've got guys who know their roles, accept their roles, thrive in their roles, and they have the ability to do something special once in a while. The Al Horford game in the Milwaukee series. Derek White yesterday in double figures, getting aggressive, going to the basket. This is not a bought and paid for team. This is not a big three who assembles at the press conference team. This is a drafted, developed, bit role guys team where everybody just does their part. I love what this team is. It's been a great turnaround yesterday in the third quarter, and it's been a great turnaround over the course of the season. The Celtics are, I couldn't believe this stat. The Celtics are 1 win away from becoming the first team to be under 500 halfway through the season and then reach the finals since 1981. It has been 41 years since a team was under 500 at the halfway portion of an NBA season and got to the finals. It was the 81 Pistons, and the Celtics are 1 win away from getting there. A remarkable turnaround. It's not over yet, but they are close. Miami is done. Because the best way for the Heat to win is just out-toughing you. And you can't out-tough somebody in this scenario on this stage 2 games in a row. You can't do it. You've got to have some skill. You've got to have some shot making. I mean, Strus is like 0 for his last 3 games, it feels like. They just do not have the shot making. If the Heat were up 3-1, they could put the vice grip on you, frustrate you, and just kind of put the compressor on. That can't happen here. You are down. You need shot making, and the Heat right now do not have it. Their health is not good enough. Their players are not good enough. The Celtics are going to get to the NBA Finals. And I love last night, we told you, the Celtics needed to treat this like a must-win game, and they did. Jason Tatum said as much after the game.
Don't look past them. Don't believe you guys say on TV that, we're going to championship, because this is far from over. I think, we talked about, we just went into Milwaukee and won a, very big game 6. Know that it's possible. And, like we came into the mindset tonight that was must-win game, that we need to carry that over. Go into Friday like we down 3-2.
It was a must-win game coming in. It was a must-win game. Did you know that in 2-2 series, the team that wins game 5 wins more than 80% of the time? The Celtics have already punched their ticket to the finals. They just haven't officially punched it yet. This season has been a dream ride. I think the Celtics are certainly good enough to warrant that dream ride. I don't think they're just an out-of-nowhere team. They've been really good for 4 months now. They were really bad for 2.5. They've been really good for 4 months now, and they're going to go to the NBA Finals. I'm jacked up about this. I hope that you all are as jacked up as I am, because I know in New England we've been fortunate to get a lot of championship representation. This doesn't happen every day, where you get an opportunity to punch your ticket to a championship series, to potentially win a title. It doesn't happen every day, and the Celtics have an opportunity to make it happen on Friday. Win pretty, win ugly, win early, win late. Win with your stars, win with your role players. The Celtics have proven they can win every way possible. Tatum playing through discomfort, Brown playing through turnovers and kind of lack of confidence that showed in the first half yesterday. Both of them regroup, resettle, lead the team in the second half. They're players you build around in this league, and they are showing you why. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. The Celtics are in firm control. Unfortunately, a team that did not have firm control from our region was the Boston Bruins. The Bees lost in Game 7 of the NHL's first round to the Carolina Hurricanes, a guy who has been through many battles with the Bruins. He's going to join us next. How about former UVM star and 7-year NHL veteran Kevan Miller? He's going to stop by next, right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Stuck in a dead-end job? Looking for new and better opportunities? Come to the Central Vermont 13th Annual Job Fair on June 1st at the Barry Auditorium from 10 until 3. Parking and admission are free. 60 employers with hundreds of jobs available will be taking resumes, scheduling interviews, and hiring on the spot. Hosted by Central Vermont Economic Development, Creative Workforce Solutions, and the Department of Labor, with additional support from Northfield Savings Bank and Community National Bank. More info at centralvtjobfair.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
And now an important message from music superstar Willie Nelson.
I've been fighting for legalization of the one thing that can bring comfort to millions. And of course, I'm talking about Skechers.
Can we stop the commercial? Willie, I don't think Skechers are illegal anywhere.
Really? But they feel so good.
No, you can wear them anywhere, Willie.
Well, pass the Skechers.
The Skechers comfort feels so good because Skechers is the comfort technology company and has all the fits and features you need for ultimate comfort. Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Hey, everybody, I'm Lee Cattell. Have your lunch with Brady Farkas and me weekdays on the Midday News Service. The latest local news, Brady's sports report, Roger Hill updates from the Forecast Center, plus business, interviews, and breaking news as it happens. The Midday News Service, weekdays during the noon hour on Vermont's news and sports leader, WDEV FM and AM. Streamed at WDEVradio.com.
Did you serve in the military? Do you have access to your local Vermont or Western New Hampshire public library? If so, stop by and ask library staff for a free packet from the White River Junction VA containing information on benefits and eligibility. Library Gateways to VA is a project partnering the White River Junction VA with area public libraries. So stop by your local library today and ask for a Library Gateways to VA information folder.
Your chance to be part of the show is on the text line at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show here on this Thursday on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. I want to transition from our Celtics conversation into a conversation about the Boston Bruins. Joining me now is a name you all recognize. It's Kevan Miller, former Bruins defenseman, former UVM hockey standout, 7 years in the NHL with the Bruins. Kevan, thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I appreciate you being with me. You officially retired before this past season. We know the injuries were a big struggle for you in the last few years, the knee problems. How's retirement been treating you? What have you been up to?
I think things have been good. Obviously, I'm missing the game, but was able to watch the guys and kind of cheer them on this year. And obviously, a lot of good relationships with those guys. So it was a bummer to see them kind of fall out of playoffs here, but they had a good run and had a good season. So just been following them along, and other than that, just hanging out with my family.
I was going to ask you, are you a guy who's watching a lot of hockey now that you're not playing, or are you more detached? It sounds like you're still pretty invested.
Yeah, I detach a little bit. But, when playoffs is on and when the guys are playing, then I'll definitely watch. And, it's a sport I love and have loved my whole life and will continue to do so. So, yeah, I want to definitely continue to watch and stay invested.
You probably have more free time on your hands than you've ever had. What exactly have you been up to? What new hobbies have you found?
I wish that was the case. Actually, we're in the process of building a home, and that's been kind of consuming a lot of my time. So I'm more busy now than I was when I was playing. But I imagine when that's all done, said and done, I'll be able to put my feet up here for a little bit, hopefully.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about your career, a little bit about the Bruins, a little bit about UVM. I got a little bit of everything. Everybody always wants to ask, what was your welcome to the NHL moment? I like to switch that up a little bit. Who was the guy on the ice that you played with or against, and you look across, you're like, damn, I can't believe I'm on the ice with that guy? Who left you in a little bit of awe at the beginning of your career?
Kevan Miller. He was playing for the Ducks. So I was born in California, and I just remember, I watched obviously everyone kind of kids growing up watching Mighty Ducks, and I remember watching the Mighty Ducks, and Kevan Miller was a guy that I played against my rookie season, and I couldn't really believe I was on the ice with him.
I am not like a big movie watcher, but if it was a kid's movie in the 90s, I could quote it still to this day. I mean, you and I are about the same age. D2, the Mighty Ducks, I thought was the best one. But speaking of the actual Ducks, Paul Correa, I think, served as the broadcaster in D3, the Mighty Ducks, at one point.
Exactly. So those guys were, they were prevalent. It was just such a big thing, going on when that movie came out. Like you said, I think Correa's in that movie, and then guys like Mike Madonna was in some of the stars, but the Mighty Ducks was just such a big thing, and it was, I don't know, being on the ice with Kevan Miller was pretty cool.
The game has gotten so fast and has gotten so skill based. As a guy who played defense, how did playing defense change as you went through your career? How did you have to adapt?
I think kind of the biggest thing that you talked about is the speed. The speed of the game is just continuing to get faster every year, and the guys are getting, stronger and faster and bigger and the whole deal. And that was, a big thing when I first started, that wasn't. I mean, it was trending in that direction, and then it was something that changed every year. And a lot of guys had to adapt to their game and their style, and I was definitely one of them. And wanted to make sure I did that. So I think the defending is just, they obviously make it harder to defend by not clutching and grabbing and hooking and holding guys. And so I think a lot of it just becomes positionally, being able to be in the right spot, kind of to defend.
We're talking with Kevan Miller, former UVM hockey standout, former Bruins standout, 7 years in the NHL, recently retired. He's here with us on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Kind of tying your career experience into some UVM stuff. It's interesting to note that UVM head coach Todd Woodcroft, his brother Jay Woodcroft, is the coach of the Edmonton Oilers now. He's the interim head coach. He took over at some point this year. They can clinch a spot in the Western Conference Finals tonight. You had an experience in your career where Claude Julien is let go and Bruce Cassidy comes in. How difficult is it for an interim head coach to come in and kind of flip the switch?
There's a lot of challenges for sure. It presents a lot of challenges. I think in a lot of ways it can produce giving guys a little bit of a fresh start. That I don't know if that was the case when Claude left. I think it was just, Butchie came in and he complimented what Claude had kind of already had established with the Bruins. But I think it is a challenge. And I mean, he's done a great job. I was actually going to text Todd last night about it. Didn't want to jinx him, but his brother's doing great and the Oilers are playing awesome. So it's cool to see.
Let's talk a little bit about the Bruins. They get bounced by the Canes in the first round in 7 games. This is a big and interesting offseason for them. Patrice Bergeron is a free agent. He's 36 years old. He says he doesn't want to play anywhere else. That's good to hear. So I guess he'll probably be back or he could retire. What was your experience like playing with Bergie, and just how vital is he to what the team does?
Oh man, it's a hard question to answer because I don't know how much time you have. He was just a phenomenal player. He's a guy that, when you first brought up that question, who are you on the ice? Bergie's one of those guys for sure, because he's such a great player in all facets of the game. But when it comes to being a great person, he's one of those guys as well. So I can't really say too much about the guy. All I know is I was really grateful to play with him. And I really hope that he sticks around.
The business side of the game is obviously part of things, and David Pastrnak is going into the last year of his contract. Obviously, the Bruins, we want them to re-sign him. He doesn't have to re-sign this offseason if he wants. As someone who is on the roster, when there's big roster decisions looming, what do you do? Are you paying attention to another guy's situation? Are you talking to anybody? What's kind of your role when there's big things out there?
It's tough because you don't want to overstep your boundary. Obviously, these are your teammates, your close friends and things, and you're there to support them, and you hope that they make the best decision for themselves. But at the same time, you're also hoping that they make the best decision for you and your teammates. So it's a tough thing. You're just there to support them. And if I could say anything, I think Poss has kind of shown that he's. He wants to play in Boston, and I think he will. And I think he deserves whatever's coming to him. He's a great player, a great friend, and I think he's well deserving of a great contract, which I think he'll get.
You got a chance to play on defense at a point with Zdeno Chara, and you got to see Charlie Mcavoy. Mcavoy is a guy who got a long-term deal from the Bruins. What did you see in him early on that showed you he would be a player that they could build around on the back end?
Oh, heck, his first game. It was first game. He was my D partner. We were in Ottawa, and we just had a bunch of guys get injured, and we're playing the playoffs. And then, and they called Charlie up just because we basically needed a guy. Like, we didn't have anybody else, and so they called him up for his first game. It was a playoff game in Ottawa, and Sweens just kind of told me as a D partner, said, "Hey man, don't try and corral him a little bit. Just let him do his thing and support him." I said, "Perfect." Came in, I think he played like 28 minutes that night. And I knew right away that he was going to be a star in this league, and he's shown that. So he's definitely deserving of his contract, and he's doing a great job.
When did you realize the NHL was a business? That moment comes for everybody. When did it come for you?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I was just grateful to be there every day and play. Like, I didn't really see it ever as a job. I was doing something I loved, and you know, yeah, the NHL is a business, but heck, I got to play hockey for a living basically my whole career. So I mean, it was never really a business for me. It was a passion and something I loved to do and was fortunate to do.
You know, maybe, you know, speculating, part of the reason that you didn't have that moment is because you were fortunate to play your whole career with one team. And certainly you've heard the horror stories of guys being traded and released in multiple teams over multiple seasons. How grateful are you to have spent just your entire career with one organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, it's hard to put into words. Like you said, I think maybe I was a little bit sheltered in that regard, where I didn't see a little bit of this, you know, the business, a lot of the business side of it. And I did, because I saw guys come and go and leave. But me personally, I was committed to a team. They were committed to me. It was. I enjoyed every minute of it, the ups and downs, the bumps and bruises, and was grateful for all of it. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen very often where you're able to spend your whole career with one team in one city, but forged a lot of friends and a lot of people that still call family in that town, and will always have a piece of my heart.
We're talking with Kevan Miller, former Boston Bruins defenseman, 7 years in the NHL, also played at the University of Vermont, and he's with us now on the Brady Farkas Show. This had to have been 5 years ago or so. I know you guys were playing Toronto. I think it was a first-round series. And I remember reading a story in The Athletic by Fluto Shinzawa. It was a profile on you. And I remember reading California, I think prep school in Massachusetts to UVM. How does that track happen where a kid from California ends up at UVM?
Yeah, so I think back when I was in California, it was there was kind of a plateau you got to where you wanted to go, and it was time for me to look elsewhere. My parents and I really wanted to go to a good school, and ended up going to Berkshire in Western Massachusetts. And then from there, was recruited to go to the University of Vermont. Kevin Espn came down, saw a game, and we had a great conversation. I went up and watched a couple of games at UVM and said, where do I sign? So that was kind of the history of how it transpired. And again, really, really fortunate. I mean, I've basically been on the East Coast for the past 18 years. So it was pretty fortunate.
You know, this is my stock question to any former UVM person. I don't know how often you get back here or when the last time you were in Burlington was, but next time you come back to town, first place you want to eat is where?
Oh, man, I don't think it's even open anymore. That's what's a shame. That Brazilian steakhouse that used to be above What Ails You, I think it's gone.
I've only been here 6 years. I certainly haven't seen it. But and by the way, I give you points for creativity. You're the first person to ever say that. Usually I get Al's French Fries or the Windjammer or something, or a place right on Church Street itself. I give you bonus points for the creativity there.
Oh, I think I could have gone with the standard one, right? Like, but I think we had a really good. My family and we had a great time at that Brazilian steakhouse. It used to be there, but I mean, we would definitely hit all the ones you just highlighted.
Well, Kevin, we appreciate the time, the perspective on the Bruins, on your career, and enjoy the rest of the playoffs, and good luck building the house. And here's to some downtime for you at some point in the future.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I appreciate you as well. Kevan Miller, former Bruins defenseman and former UVM hockey star. Good stuff there. A Brazilian steakhouse atop of What Ails You in Burlington. That predates me. Does anybody know what that place was called? Does anybody know what that place was called? If you do, 802-585-3026, Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. We'll text Kevan Miller if we can get the answer to this question. However, I don't have it right now, so it definitely predates me. I've been to What Ails You. I've never been to a steak. Oh, Brazilian steak. The Griffin is near What Ails You, but is that a Brazilian steakhouse? I don't think so. The Griffin? All right, if somebody knows, 802-585-3026. By the way, you heard it there from the horse's mouth, about how important Bergeron is to the Bruins. He basically thinks he's incredibly important to the team. Couldn't even put in words what it was like to play with him. Said, like, kind of my in-awe moment, the guy that left me in awe, Bergeron was one of them. That's how impactful he is. And by the way, Kevan Miller mentioned the Mighty Ducks movie franchise. That's major bonus points for me. That's like the biggest form of hockey in my life, like the first 18 years of my life, is those Mighty Ducks movies. I'm happy that Kevin was a fan too. Even the NHL players loved themselves a little Charlie Conway, Guy Germain, Connie Moreau, and Russ Tyler. So love the Mighty Ducks. All right. Kevan Miller, full interview. That'll be available on our podcast channel shortly. You can go check it out on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. When we come back, first national news update, and then I committed an unbelievably stupid fashion faux pas today. I literally hate myself for this. I'll tell you what I did. That's next on DEV.
96.1 WDEV FM Warren. 96.5 W243 AT Barrie. 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier. AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jim Crisula in Uvalde, Texas. Police now say there was no one to stop the 18-year-old who walked into an apparently unlocked door at Robb Elementary School and shot and killed 21 people. He had earlier shot and wounded his grandmother. Victor Escalon is with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
From the grandmother's house to the bar ditch to the school, into the school, he was not confronted by anybody.
The White House says the president and first lady will come here Sunday to meet with grieving family members. I'm Jim Crisula in Uvalde, Texas. Here's Monica Ricks with more CBS News.
Students held school walkouts across the country today as a protest to call for action after the shooting in Uvalde. The shooting in Texas is the deadliest school shooting in the U.S. since Sandy Hook in 2012. Gun control advocates rallied in Washington. CBS's Linda Kenyon on Capitol Hill.
Every day, my friends and I live with the fear of being gunned down.
Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, site of the Sandy Hook shootings, agrees with that student. He says it's an outrage.
We are not prepared to allow our schools to continue as killing fields.
He joined a gun safety rally in front of the U.S. Capitol building. He was joined by several senators, including New York's Kirsten Gillibrand.
Fight! Fight in this election like your life depends upon it, because it truly does.
Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
The CDC confirms at least 9 cases of monkeypox now in 7 states, but some of these cases don't involve international travel. Still, Dr. Anthony Fauci says people should not panic.
We do have countermeasures that work against monkeypox. So although we're keeping an eye out on it, we're not panicking, and we have interventions for it.
Fauci talked about monkeypox and COVID on CBS's The Takeout with Major Garrett. That episode is out tomorrow. Former President Trump and his children will have to answer questions under oath about his business practices. CBS's Graham Cates has the latest.
The Trumps were challenging subpoenas sent in December, seeking testimony and documents in connection with an investigation into the valuation of properties owned or controlled by Trump or the Trump Organization.
A shocking loss in Hollywood. Goodfellas actor Ray Liotta has died.
I had a down payment on my house and things were really rolling. All I had to do was every once in a while was tell Sandy that I loved her.
The 67-year-old died in his sleep while shooting a new movie in the Dominican Republic. And keyboardist and founding member of British rock group Depeche Mode, Andy Fletcher, has also died at 60. The band confirmed the news today on Twitter. This is CBS News.
It's a day to honor,
to remember,
to reflect.
This Memorial Day, honor our fallen soldiers with taps across America. For more information, go to cbs.com/taps.
Unique experience through the Waterbury Adventure Challenge. Join them to follow clues, solve riddles, and discover local treasures. Plus, you could win the $500 grand prize. It's the perfect present for anyone who loves puzzles, crosswords, Wordle, history, or exploration. Have someone who's hard to shop for? Waterbury Bucks can be used like cash at over 50 businesses around town, so they can pick out their own present and shop local. Plus, they're now available for purchase at Bridgeside Books. Learn more about these great gift ideas at discoverwaterbury.com. Discover all that Waterbury has to offer.
Anytime is the right time for ice cream. Ben & Jerry's Waterbury Scoop Shop has all your favorite flavors available to be scooped into a cup, a freshly baked waffle cone, a hot fudge sundae blended into a milkshake, or even packed to create the most delicious ice cream cake ever. So many Ben & Jerry's flavors to choose from, including our iconic lineup, non-dairy options, and for your four-legged pals, our doggy desserts. We're open every day. Give us a call, swing by, or order online. Easy curbside pickup available. Your taste buds will thank you. Peace, love, and ice cream from Ben & Jerry's.
Foreshadowing. CBS's Steve Kathan explains.
The trial of 71-year-old romance novelist Nancy Crampton Brophy, who once wrote an essay called How to Murder Your Husband, is over in Portland, Oregon. The jury convicted her of murdering her husband. 63-year-old Daniel Brophy was shot and killed as he got ready to go to work at the Oregon Culinary Institute in June of 2018. Prosecutors say she was motivated by insurance money. During the trial, Crampton Brophy said she had no need for money because her husband's retirement savings plan was cashed in. Her attorneys plan to appeal. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
South Korean boy band BTS is headed to the White House. They'll join President Biden next week to talk about Asian inclusion and representation. Mr. Biden has been very vocal about combating a rise in anti-Asian hate crimes. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. I am disgusted with myself. I am embarrassed and disgusted with myself. I committed an absolutely humongous fashion faux pas today. I don't think that I have ever felt less cool than I do right now. Like, it is embarrassing how uncool I feel at this moment. Let me run you through my wardrobe for the day here. I'm wearing a t-shirt, no problem. That's fine. I'm wearing shorts today. That's fine. No problem there. I have new-ish shoes. They're athletic shoes. They're not basketball shoes, but they're not, they're not full-blown running shoes. They're kind of like cross-training shoes. So they're brand new shoes. They're dark shoes, okay? They're like a graphite. They're not gray, but they're not black. So they're like a graphite-colored shoe. Fine. With blue, kind of a little bit of blue on them, some blue hints. So I'm wearing a T-shirt. I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing these new-ish, pretty darn new athletic shoes that are kind of like this graphite color. And then I'm walking into the station this morning and I look down at my feet and I see these shoes I'm telling you about. But I also realize that with these dark shoes, I am wearing white ankle socks. Dark shoes, white socks. You could not look any more old manish or any less cool than I currently look right now. Here's a PSA to all dudes out there. If you are wearing dark shoes, you must wear dark socks. White shoes, wear whatever color socks you want. Dark shoes, you must wear dark socks. I feel like I'm about 78 years old. I feel like I'm one step away from hanging out with Frank and Estelle Costanza at Del Boca Vista. I feel like I should be on the shuffleboard court. Like, I have never felt older and less cool than I do right now. I feel like I'm 3 hours late for the early bird special. I feel like I should be out mowing my lawn right now in lawn mowing shoes with these white socks. This is an absurdly ridiculous look. And there's nothing I can do about it. Like, here it is. It's 6:08. The day is almost over, but I know that I'm still wearing this. There's nothing I can do about it. I can take off my socks and go sockless. That's not a great look. That's like I'm a beachy skateboarder. I can't really pull that off, and I need like puka shell necklaces. I can't handle that. I could roll down my socks so you can't really see them. They're still on, but you can't really see them. That's kind of girlish, like total ankle socks where you can't see anything. So here I am stuck like this, but I have never felt worse about my fashion sense than I am right now, than I do at this moment. It is just despicable. It's peak dad vibes right now, like old dad vibes. It's ridiculous. I don't feel old physically, right? I'm 32, approaching 33. I don't feel old physically, but I've never felt older looks-wise than I do at this moment. Like, physically, I still play hardball baseball every Sunday, throwing 100 pitches a week, playing competitive men's league basketball, a league that starts in June. Physically, I feel pretty good. But this look, this is a new low for me. This is a new low for me. And it's also, I also came to a sad realization the other day that even though I don't feel old, I came to the realization that I'm getting old and there's absolutely nothing that I can do to stop it. I used to wonder why old people felt so out of touch, and I officially regret ever thinking that or saying that because I am feeling myself getting more out of touch, and it's scaring me. I do not know how to handle this. Here's what happened. Here's what brought this on for me. I was listening recently to a podcast, right? And something they were talking about was, and somehow the actress Amanda Seyfried came up. She's a serious actress. She's famous. She's got a movie coming out soon, or maybe it's out now, called The Dropout. She's got a huge catalog of movies. But to me, she's always going to be Karen from Mean Girls. Like, this actress, Amanda Seyfried, who's got a huge movie catalog, is always going to be Karen from Mean Girls. Just like Lindsay Lohan, to me, will always be the little girl from The Parent Trap or the girl from Mean Girls. Or just like Rachel McAdams will always be Regina George from Mean Girls or the girl, Claire from Wedding Crashers. Like, these actors, actresses, they are frozen in time to me as like these very specific roles. The problem is that these roles were played in movies like 15 and 20 years ago. And these are the memories that I have. And this is what's a problem. Like, Mean Girls came out in 2004, 18 years ago. I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't discover a lot of new music now. So I'm feeling like I'm at the point in my life where all the songs I like are old, all the movie references I make are old, and this has happened overnight, it feels like, because I don't have the time or the desire to discover new things. And like, I used to wonder, oh, why do older people always say back in my day, back in my day, back in my day? The reason is because I don't have time to discover what's happening in this damn day. Like, these things, I'm like frozen in time, all of it. Like, in my mind, this is how people must feel like. Like, older people must feel like this. Like, in my mind, everything is between 2004 and 2012. If it's happened after 2012, I feel like I don't know what it is anymore. And that's a scary thing to me. Because I used to always be like the young guy in the office, the hip guy in the office, the guy who knew all the stuff, the guy who got all the references. I'm almost not that guy anymore. And that is freaking me the hell out. Because when they were talking about Amanda Seyfried, the actress, on the new movie coming out, I'm like, Amanda Seyfried, that's the one who played Mean Girls, right? Oh, yeah, Mean Girls just came out a little while ago. No, it came out 18 years ago, Brady. So all of my references, like, it's no longer cool to quote Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. They're old movies. But for me, they're like tattooed in the forefront of my mind. This is not good. This is a frightening realization for me. Thank God I have sports, because sports is the only thing where I feel like it's keeping me relevant. I can tell you who the second baseman is for the Red Sox in 2002 or 2022. Right? I can drop references to Troy O'Leary and Carl Everett and Carl Crawford in addition to the guys they got now. So sports, I'm golden on. But movies and music, I am like losing it. I'm losing it, and it's really starting to bother me. 802-585-3026, Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. Jane from Essex Junction. Brady, exclamation point. You can fight this. Make a commitment to try new things and discover new things that will always keep you young. Jane, thank you, but I'll be honest with you. I'm about to say what I think a lot of people say. I just don't have the time to discover all these new things. And that sounds like a horribly lame excuse, but to me, it really is the truth. With the hours that I work, I don't think I have the time. Like, look at my day today. I got into the office at 10:15. Okay, 10:15. Took the train in, got in the office 10:15. I get off the air at 7. I'm taking the train home. I'm going to get home tonight at 8:30. And then, boom, Red Sox game. And then the night will be over, right? Like Red Sox game, Mavericks and Warriors. That's what I'll be watching. Like that's my day. Where is time for me to discover a new 2-hour action movie? Where is there time for me to look at another Amanda Seyfried movie? I don't have it. And I don't complain about my job. Covering sports, working in sports, talking about sports is the coolest job in the world. I would not trade it for anything other than actually playing sports, right? I would not trade my job for anything. But it doesn't leave me a lot of time to go and do a whole lot of other things and discover new things. That's my story on aging. I look old today because of what I'm wearing. I feel old because of the realization that I had. Back in my day, that is now me, but my day is 2004. Marco in Warren says, I feel like your anger is not really about the socks. No, it really is about the socks. I should not be wearing white socks with dark sneakers. There is nothing says more like I'm packing it in than, looking like I'm going to move to Boca Raton and play shuffleboard. And then I get another message. Don't want to live in a world where Trot Nixon references are not relevant. My Trot Nixon, you can always drop Trot Nixon references to me. I'm good on that. If it's sports, we can go back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and I'll be good. I'll be with you, and I'll be hip on what's happening now. Music and movies, though, I'm leaving a whole lot to be desired there. Like, seriously, there are musical artists out there that are like winning Grammys that I've never heard of. There are movies and people winning awards I've never heard of. That scares me. That scares me. All right, let's get back to sports. I still got a lot to say on those topics. You know what? Let's get right to who's saying what. We do that every single day.
Whoa. What did he say?
Mac Jones? Good Lord. Mel Kiper's got to slow down on this. Mac Jones ain't going to work, folks. It's not going to work. You just got to come to terms with it. It's not going to work.
They really said that?
Every damn thing is politics and race, and I'm losing my mind over it.
It's time for Who's Saying What on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Who's Saying What is brought to you by Vermont Laser Wash. That's Central Vermont's home of unlimited car washes. It begins at just $20 a month. If you want one free car wash, you just need to text the word Vermont to the number 30 and then 400. So again, unlimited car washes, $20 a month. One free one, 30, 400. Text the word Vermont. Patriots are at OTAs this week. We've talked a little bit about it. Mac Jones said something really interesting about team chemistry earlier this week. I want you to hear this.
In terms of like team chemistry and stuff, I think we've made leaps and bounds there. Just as a rookie, you come in, you're kind of thrown in and everything, all the plates are hot, so you kind of just try and find your feet. But now this past off season, and right now we've just built a great relationship with the offensive line, the receivers, hanging out together, just doing things together off the field, because at the end of the day, we're all friends. We work together. We want to play for one another, and that's important to me. That's why football is the best team sport.
I'll be honest. When I first heard that clip, and I first heard that clip on Tuesday, when I first heard that clip from Mac Jones, I was like, what the hell? I was preparing to rip the Patriots, as in like, if he's talking about improving chemistry by leaps and bounds, then what the hell was wrong last year? Was the chemistry wrong last year? What happened? Whose fault is it? That's where I was going first. I was ready to rip them. But now, 2 days after hearing it, I'm calmer, I'm more rational, and I think I get what Mac Jones really means, and I'm not worried at all. In fact, I'm encouraged. I don't think Mac Jones is talking about the whole team's chemistry. I think he's talking solely about himself within the confines of the team. He is saying that he personally feels more comfortable with the team, that he personally feels more connected. He thinks his own chemistry with his guys is better, and that is a very good thing.
In terms of like team chemistry and stuff, I think we've made leaps and bounds there. Just as a rookie, you come in, you're kind of thrown in, and everything, all the plates are hot, so you kind of just try and find your feet. But now this past off season, and right now we've just built a great relationship with the.
He says last year all the plates are hot as a rookie. You're just kind of finding your way. That's absolutely true. I came in prepared to rip that comment as in like what's wrong with the Pats last year. It's not about the Pats. It's about Mac himself individually. He comes in last year. He's like, okay, I got to learn the playbook. I got to meet the guys. I got to put my head down. I just got to work hard. Don't say anything. Cam Newton's here. You don't want to step on his toes. Cam's a big personality. Some of these guys are tight with Cam. They've played with him. They played against him. They like Cam. And then as the season goes on, you're just working on game planning every week. There's not a lot of time for building chemistry in the course of an actual season. That team bonding is accomplished now, and Mac is saying, I am now ready and able to be a part of that. I think Mac Jones is taking big steps in that regard this offseason. It's pretty clear, right? Mac's organizing throwing sessions in Florida. Mac's showing a little more personality. Mac Jones now feels like this is his team. He feels like he has ownership of this team. He feels like guys respect him and respond to him, and he cares about cultivating those relationships. He's invested in making those relationships strong. The Patriots offense does seem to be tight, and Mac Jones is a huge part of that. I really do like Mac. He really does get it. If you're going to be a good NFL quarterback, you have to get it from the neck up, and Mac Jones does. He's got a better personality than we were led to believe last year. He's got good leadership traits. I do think that guys around him like him, and I think he works hard at everything he does. And Mac Jones definitely looks physically better. Like, he looks like he's in better shape. He's lost some of that baby fat. He looks leaner, and his teammates know it and appreciate it too. Here was Kendrick Bourne earlier this week on Mac's physicality.
Yeah, Mac, and he's also in shape. Everything you said, is way better, and he's in the best shape of his life. I think he's been here all off season with Moses, so he looks really good. His stomach is gone, and he looks really good. He's definitely pro's pro now.
Yeah, I really like Mac. I think Mac gets it. I think he's really good from the neck up. And when he talks about the team chemistry, I think he's saying, I'm able to go out now and be a bigger part of this. Whereas last year, I couldn't. I just wasn't able to. Now I'm able to go and be a bigger part of it. Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line 802-585-3026. Jack in Waitsfield. Oh, you seem to be high on Mac right now. Are you changing your opinion on him after all? Jack, let's not misconstrue my words here. I've always said that I like Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones has always pretty much gotten it from the neck up. And that is a huge component of being a good NFL quarterback. In fact, I don't think you can be a successful quarterback if you don't get it up top like Mac does. But the other piece of the puzzle is physical talent. And Mac has physical talent. He just doesn't measure up to some of the top-end talent in the rest of the AFC, which is why I fear Mac Jones being good, not great, and the Pats being stuck in the Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins zone, where guys are good, not great, where guys are eventually a limiting factor and not an elevator. That, to be a great NFL quarterback, you have to, in my mind, you have to have it up top, right? If you just have the physical talent, I don't think you can be a great NFL quarterback. Michael Vick had it all athletically. He didn't have it up top. By his own admission, he didn't study the playbook hard enough, right? Michael Vick had all the physical gifts. He did not have it up top. If I could only have one of the two, I'd rather have it up top. But if you want to be really good, you got to have both. And Mac just doesn't have it like other guys have it. On that note, predictably, noted Patriots hater Nick Wright was talking about Mac Jones yesterday, ironically, on Fox Sports 1. Let's hear what he had to say, kind of along the line of Mac's talent.
If you look at the AFC this year, I was going to do a list of quarterbacks that are better than Mac Jones. It's too long. What are the AFC quarterbacks that anyone can say with any level of confidence Mac Jones is better than? I came up with 2.5. Tua, Mitch Trubisky, and even though it pains me, because I do love this man's neck, Davis Mills.
Nick Wright is not that far off. As much as he hates the Pats, and as much as I like to counter what he has to say, he's not that far off, and that is the problem. Mac has it up top, but these other guys who in front of him, they have it up top, and they have a better physical talent. Okay? Now, I think Nick Wright's a little bit off. If we're looking at this today and not projecting, I think that Mac Jones today is better than Tua. I think he is better than Trubisky. I think he is better than Davis Mills. I think he's better than Zach Wilson right now, and I think today he's better than Trevor Lawrence. Doesn't mean he will be tomorrow. Doesn't mean he will be at the end of the year. But everyone else is better than Mac. At best case right now, Mac Jones is the 11th best quarterback in the AFC talent-wise. He is worse than Josh Allen. He's worse than Joe Burrow, worse than Lamar, Watson, Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr. Mac Jones has it up top, but those guys have it up top and physical talent all better than Mac Jones. So that is my worry. I love Mac. And from the head up, he's great. But there's questions about the physical ability. Dak Prescott gets the same questions. Does he have enough physical talent to lead the Cowboys? Dak has it from the neck up. Does he have the physical talent? Aaron Rodgers has all the physical talent, but a lot of people have wondered if he's got the maturity and from the neck up to really be great consistently. I'm not changing my opinion on Mac. I don't hate him. I just wish the Patriots had Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or Russell Wilson or any of those other guys. It's a Brady Farkas show. I think the Patriots right now are an 8 to 10 win team. I think 10 is the high point. So for you people out there that think they're headed for 10 guaranteed, I don't think that that's the case. I think 8 to 10. 10 would be the high water mark as far as I'm concerned. So this idea they're just going to come in next year and immediately win 12, not against their schedule, not with the guys that are in the AFC. Mac is great from the neck up. The other guy's got real physical talent also that Mac just doesn't have. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. When we come back, very interesting text I got overnight from one of our listeners involving why the Patriots never gave Colin Kaepernick the workout that the Raiders just did. I'll answer that. That's next on DEV.
Folks, Dan and Rick the Kid here from Lamoille Valley Ford. Before we start, we want to thank our customers and congratulate our entire team for reaching our goal in the car, truck, and SUV challenge at Lamoille Valley Ford.
Folks, with a record start to the year, you can take it from me. It's all gas and no brakes at Lamoille Valley Ford. Check this out. Due to its huge success during the challenge, we've decided to extend our gas card offer for the month of May. With a purchase, lease, or custom order of any new or pre-owned vehicle in stock at Lamoille Valley Ford, you'll leave with a $500 gas card today. That's right, even on an order of a new Ford at Lamoille Valley Ford, you'll get a $500 gas card. That's huge. And right now, our inventory at Lamoille Valley Ford is massive with a huge selection of new Ford trucks, SUVs, and several of the all-new Ford Broncos on the lot and available. Plus, over $2 million in inventory of late model, low mileage, pre-owned vehicles, and we're ready to make deals.
Woo! So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and Lamoille Valley Ford. Get a great deal on your new or pre-owned vehicle, plus a $500 gas card today at Lamoille Valley Ford. And remember, at Lamoille Valley Ford, we know price matters.
How well does your garden grow? Tune in Saturdays at 12:30 for In the Garden with Peter Burke. Peter and co-host Joel Nashman give you one full hour of the latest news, helpful tips, and your calls to talk about what's happening in your garden. It's brought to you in part by Menard's family-owned True Value Store, Brooklyn Street, Morrisville. In the Garden with Peter Burke, live Saturdays at 12:30. Hear the podcast anytime at WDEVradio.com. Don't go through another summer with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now.
That pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder, it can now be treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics, growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Really exciting stuff here. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here to this modern-day joint pain solution. You can get lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and no surgery. You've heard Emmett Smith raving about QC Kinetics. You've read or seen other high-profile people talking about it. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can help you get your life back. Take action now. Get a free consultation. Powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologics are here. Call QC Kinetics now. 802-PAINLESS. 802-PAINLESS. That's 802-PAINLESS.
Treatments are not yet FDA approved.
For some people, all they need to know about weather is the high temperature for the day. But if you're one of those people who really wants to understand the hows and whys of weather, especially here in the Green Mountain State, then Roger Hill's Weather Classroom podcast is for you. Some of the topics I'll explore are the types of precipitation, global temperature averages, and tropical cyclones. Roger Hill's Weather Classroom podcast is available at WDEVradio.com, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Show brought to you in part by Pro Driver Training. That's Pro Driver Training, Vermont's premier truck driver training school, online at ProDriverCDL.com. They're online at ProDriverCDL.com, where they can help you with your Class A CDL, your Class B CDL, passenger and advanced skills training as well. I got a really, really interesting text in the overnight hours. Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line 802-585-3026. Brady, this came from Rick in Burlington. Brady, did you see that Colin Kaepernick is working out for the Raiders? It's interesting that all the old Patriots staffers are now in Vegas. So if those guys like him, why did he never work out in Foxborough? It must have been that Belichick was against him. That's a really interesting point, a really interesting question, and it's something that I really thought about after I saw that text this morning. And the texter is right about some of the things they said. Josh McDaniels is now in Vegas, and some Patriots staffers have gone with him. So evidently, McDaniels and his new group like Kaepernick to a degree. To what degree, we don't know. But they like Kaepernick to a degree. So the question is, if they think that Kaepernick is good enough to at least get a look, why did he never get a look in Foxborough? Oh, it must be Belichick. Belichick must be against Kaepernick. Again, I thought about this a lot. I don't think it's fair to go at Belichick on this. I really don't. To say that, to insinuate that Belichick basically was the solo reason that Kaepernick never ended up in Foxborough, to say that Belichick was against Kaepernick, or to say that Belichick was, blackballing him from Foxborough, I don't think that's fair. Let's look at a few things here quickly. By the way, I think it's odd that the Raiders have worked out Kaepernick. I do. They have Derek Carr, who is their starter. And while I understand that Colin Kaepernick could be a backup, the Raiders just they just gave up real capital to go get Jarrett Stidham to do that job. They also have Nick Mullins, who has started a bunch of games in the NFL, more recently than Kaepernick, and started a game last year for the Cleveland Browns. So I would think that the Raiders have already invested in their backup position. So I find it odd that they are the team to give Kaepernick a shot. So that's from the Raiders' perspective. But as for the Patriots, for a long time, not today, but for a long time, the only discussion around Colin Kaepernick and football was, would Colin Kaepernick be a starter? Would Colin Kaepernick be a starter in the NFL? He has said now that he'll be a backup. But for a long time, the conversation was only about Kaepernick being a starter. The Patriots didn't need a starter. The Patriots had Tom Brady through the 2019 season. Kaepernick last played in 2016. So there were 3 full seasons where the Patriots had Brady as their starter. If the conversation was only about Kaepernick being a starter, then he would not have ever fit in New England. So that is not about, everybody else liked Kaepernick and Belichick was the reason that he never got a workout. He didn't need a workout. He wanted to be a starter. His fans wanted him to be a starter. Everybody else who supported Kaepernick wanted him to be a starter. The Patriots didn't need a starter. They had Tom Brady. Then Brady leaves in 2020, and we're in the early stages of the pandemic. Facilities are closed. It's all remote work. It's really hard to do workouts. I don't remember at what point workouts opened up again, but it was a while before we actually had workouts going on in the NFL where guys couldn't go to facilities. Guys couldn't get in front of coaches. There was massive testing protocol. So for players who were fringe roster players, they didn't have the opportunity to go and work out. Colin Kaepernick would have been out of the league for 3.5 years. He would have needed a workout. The Patriots couldn't give it to him. The Pats ended up signing Cam Newton later in that summer. He didn't get a workout. They just had a book on him and his reputation and his resume, and he had played far more recently than Kaepernick. So Cam gets the job in 2020. There was no chance to bring on Kaepernick. He would have needed a workout, and the Pats could not give it to him. And then finally, 2021, we all know the Patriots needed to take a quarterback. We all know that the smart thing was for the Pats to draft the quarterback of the future. So there was no room. Like, Kaepernick was not going to be a long-term plan. The drafted quarterback was going to be the long-term plan. As for the other quarterbacks on the roster, we were all okay with bringing Cam back, weren't we? So you had a drafted quarterback. You bring Cam back. That's your quarterback room. Where on earth is there room for Kaepernick? There was never an opportunity to bring him in, as far as I'm concerned. They didn't suffer an injury to a quarterback. They had Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup for a portion of a time period also. There just wasn't an opportunity. I don't think that Bill Belichick blackballed Colin Kaepernick from Foxborough. There wasn't a chance to bring him in. Didn't need a starter. We had COVID. And for a long time, being a starter is all Kaepernick and his team would have wanted. I mean, Bill Belichick brought in Tim Tebow in the preseason. He's not adverse to bringing in guys that come in with publicity and popularity. He brought in Cam Newton, which would have seemed to clash with everything that Belichick believes in. And moreover, Belichick employs several players who are outspoken against the same thing that Kaepernick was outspoken against, who have kneeled for the anthem. So I think this idea that Belichick was against Kaepernick or his message is insane, frankly. I mean, Devin McCourty is outspoken. James White has talked. I think 17 players kneeled for the anthem in one given week a couple of years ago, and Belichick didn't stop them. If Bill Belichick has drafted Aaron Hernandez with his character issues. He has drafted J.C. Jackson with character issues before coming out of college, or he signed J.C. Jackson, rather. He has signed Antonio Brown. He signed Michael Floyd, who was passed out drunk in the middle of an Arizona street, signed him right before the playoffs. Bill Belichick will dance with the devil himself if he thinks it will help him win a football game. So if he thought Colin Kaepernick was necessary, I absolutely believe he would have brought him in for a workout. He never was necessary, and with COVID, there was never a period in the 2020 season. You have Brady, 2017 through 19, no need for Kaepernick. COVID happens, you need a quarterback. No chance to bring in anybody for a workout. So they signed Cam, who they know. Then 2021, long-term play happens. That's Mac Jones. We bring Cam back. Okay, don't need Kaepernick anymore. So I think the text message question is fair. That, yeah, some of these other guys in New England clearly liked Kaepernick. The Patriots didn't need him. It didn't make sense. So I don't think it's fair to give Belichick shade on why Kaepernick didn't get a shot in New England. If Kaepernick can sign with the Raiders and can be one of their best 53, I think he'll absolutely be accepted. And I think a lot of fans will accept Kaepernick at this point. But New England was never a spot that he was needed. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Text comes in on the Napa-Morrisville, Napa-Waterbury text line. Brady, I'm a little slow on the text line, but I want to respond to you looking like an old man. I'm pushing 60 with 2 daughters. Wait till you have kids. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I'm looking like a dad. I'm not even a dad. The white socks with the dark shoes, this is going to eat at me all night. If I see people on the street when I walk out of the studio, I'm going to be like, hey, look at me from the stomach up. Don't ever look at the ground. Okay? Eyes here. Eyes up here. Don't look down because it's not a pretty sight. This texter also says, by the way, I've listened to you for many years. Congratulations on going to DEV. Well, thank you very much. I enjoy being at DEV very much as well, and all the listeners have been great. It's hard to believe I've been here now for more than a year and a half. Been here for 19 months or so, 20 months even. I started in October. I started in the end of September, I believe. Yeah, the end of September in 2020. So I get 19 or 20 months. It's crazy to realize it's been that long. But this show has grown. You all have accepted me, and I love being here as well. Okay, Red Sox baseball comes up a half an hour from now. If you are Xander Bogaerts and you are angry at the contract extension the Red Sox offered you, how do you get over that anger? If you want to be in Boston, how do you get over that anger? What needs to happen for you to feel better about everything? I've got the answers on what would take me to feel better. That's next on DEV.
Sunday afternoon, the 59th annual Mickelson RV Memorial Day Classic rolls to the line at the nation's site of excitement, Thunder Road. 125 laps for the late models, $10,000 to win for the Tri-Track Open Modifieds, plus Flying Tigers, Street Stocks, and Road Warriors. Adult admission $30. Kids age 6 to 12, $10. 5 and under, free. Sunday afternoon, the nation's site of excitement, Thunder Road, Quarry Hill, Barry. Host time 1:30.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option. But then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 802-PAINLESS. That's 802-PAINLESS. QC Kinetics, 802-PAINLESS. That's 802-PAINLESS. Treatments are not yet FDA approved.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
New to podcast or looking for some variety to add to your current rotation? Check out the selection of locally and nationally produced podcasts on the WDEV website. You'll find podcasts of WDEV's own Vermont Viewpoint with Rick and Gary, Travels with Charlie, For the Birds, Healthcare Today, and The Brady Farkas Show. In addition, you can access podcasts from ESPN and CBS, all for free. Find the complete selection of podcasts at WDEVradio.com.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Red Sox baseball, 25 minutes from now. The lineups for you in just a couple of minutes as the Red Sox take on the White Sox in Game 3 of 3 from the south side of Chicago. We had on earlier in the week Mike Mutnansky, Mutt from WEEI, who usually is the host of the Red Sox pregame show. And we talked about Xander Bogaerts and the contract negotiations, et cetera. I want you to listen to what Mutt said.
I don't think he looks at those guys' struggles, but I think he wants to be here. Like, I've heard from enough people on and off the record who have talked to Bogaerts, like he wants to play here in Boston. He was very disappointed by the one-year extension offer the Red Sox offered him. And, if he can get past that anger, the way John Lester really couldn't, I think there's a way to bring him back here.
802-585-3026. Mutt says that Bogaerts needs to get over that anger in a way that John Lester couldn't. If you are in Bogaerts' shoes, the team has offered you a laughable deal. It truly is laughable. This is not me defending coddled athletes. This is a laughable deal. It's basically a non-offer. If you have been offered a laughable contract, but you want to be in Boston, what do you need to have happen to get over that anger? I ask you, we've all been in business. I'm sure at one point or another, we've all felt wronged by our employee, or our employer, I should say. How do you get over it? How do you get over that anger? I know what I want. If I'm Xander Bogaerts, I want 3 things. There's 3 things that I want here to get over that anger. 1, I want a serious apology. And I'm not being dramatic, and I'm not being facetious here. I want a real apology. I want John Henry, Chaim Bloom, and Alex Cora to take me to dinner to a nice restaurant. I want them to look me in the eyes and tell me they are sorry for undervaluing me and are sorry for insulting me, sorry for taking me for granted. I want them to tell me, and I don't think that's being insecure. I want them to tell me how important I am to the organization, to its history and its past, but also to its future. I need to hear that. If I'm Xander Bogaerts and you have insulted me, I need to feel the love where you tell me you are sorry, you made a mistake, and I am important not only to what's happened here already, but what is going to happen here in the future. That's number 1. Number 2, I want a guarantee that I am staying at shortstop. I want a guarantee that I'm staying at shortstop. I don't need it for the life of the contract, but I need to know that for the foreseeable future, I am your shortstop. That is your number 1 plan. I'm playing better defense this year. I'm a better shortstop than the experts and haters think that I was before. I do not want to step aside. And if you won't let me play shortstop, then I will go somewhere else, and I will play shortstop, and I will stick it to you, and I will haunt you. I want to know that I am your guy. And I'm not your guy if you want to put Trevor Story at shortstop. I'm not. You want to prove to me the love? Then you're going to let me play shortstop. That's number 2 that I want. And then number 3, I need an offer that proves everything that you just told me. You told me how great I am. You told me you let me play shortstop. I need an offer that shows your commitment. I need an offer that is bigger with more annual value than Trevor Story got. Trevor Story got 6 for $140. That's $23 million a year. I need at least $25 million a year. I have been here. I have done it. I've won here. I've bled here. I've played hurt here. I've handled the market. I know the community. I've been in with the Jimmy Fund. I have stepped up. I have done it here. The newcomer doesn't get treated better than the longtime stalwart. That's just the way it is. So if you're going to make me feel better about this, you're going to give me an offer that is better than Story got. Story got 6 for $140. I called yesterday 5 for $150. That would be $30 million a year. That's $30 million a year is better than $25 million a year, or better than $23 million a year that he got. That's a good starting point. $150 million is better than the $140 that he got. That's a good starting point. Buster Olney of ESPN, I spoke to him earlier today as well. The full interview is on the podcast channel. He agrees with that way of thinking.
Well, 2 things have to happen. One, the Red Sox have to re-engage in conversation and acknowledge that first offer was not great, and then come in with a huge number. I mean, in the end, ultimately, respect comes in the form of dollar figures. And if the Red Sox want to retain Xander Bogaerts, they're going to have to offer more than the $90 million, the 1-year extension for $30 million that they put on the table. They're going to have to offer more than Trevor Story, who has not been proven in Boston the way that Xander was. They're going to have to offer more than Javier Baez. They're probably going to have to talk at least in the range of Marcus Semien and the big contract he got from the Texas Rangers.
Now that's 7 for $175. I don't know that it has to go that far. It might, but it at least has to be better than Story, both in terms of total value and in terms of annual value. Those are the things that I need. If you want to erase my anger, then you need to show me the love, apologize, let me play shortstop, and give me an offer that is better than what Story had, both in terms of total value and annual number. 802-585-3026. How would you feel? How do you feel about that, Red Sox fans? If you've been wronged in your career, what can your boss do to make it right? I'm trying to think about times I've been wronged in my career. Not here at WDEV, because WDEV is perfect, but the previous places that I have worked, what would have made me feel better? Man, I'd have to think of a more specific. I don't have like a specific. I just was in general wronged in the last 2 places I was. This is one specific incident. It's easier to make up for one specific incident than it is to, get back at, 3 to 5 years worth of mistreatment. Red Sox baseball about 15 minutes from now. Yep, 15. Carry the one. Yeah, 15 minutes. The Red Sox winning streak is over after 6 games after the 3-1 loss yesterday. Sox come into this one at 20-23. The White Sox are 22-21. This matchup looks favorable for Boston on paper. Michael Wacha's on the mound, 3-0 with a 1.76. He's opposed by Dallas Keuchel, 2-4 with a 6.60, although he did pitch well against the Red Sox the last time out in Boston. Leading off, Kike Hernandez is in center. 2 homers, 19 ribbies. Devers is at third, hitting .333. JD Martinez hitting .372. He leads the American League. 5 homers, 21 RBIs. Alex Cora today said he's never seen Martinez be this good before. Xander Bogaerts is at shortstop. Trevor Story's in the 5 spot today against the lefty, hitting .224 with 33 RBI. Alex Verdugo's in left. Christian Vasquez, the catcher. Bobby Dahlbeck's at first, still with just the 1 homer and now 6 RBIs. And Christian Arroyo bats 9th. He is in right field. He's got 2 home runs. I saw one of them last Sunday. Behind Keuchel for the White Sox, Tim Anderson's at short. Andrew Vaughn is in right. A.J. Pollock's in left. Jose Abreu is at first. Yasmani Grandal's the catcher. Gavin Sheets, the DH. Jake Berger at third. Leori Garcia's at second. And Adam Engel is in center. White Sox are banged up. Eloy Jimenez is not playing. Luis Robert is not playing. Yohan Moncada is not playing. So this is a matchup the Red Sox should win. They've got a struggling to bad pitcher on the mound in Keuchel, and they've got a severely depleted White Sox lineup. You look around this Red Sox lineup, Xander Bogaerts is hitting .357 lifetime against Keuchel. Devers is hitting .800. He's 4 for 5. And Vasquez, .375. I think 3 for 8 in his career. As for the White Sox against Waka, not a ton of experience. Josh Harrison has the most experience. He's not playing tonight, and for good reason. Grandal's hitting .294 lifetime against Waka. A.J. Pollock has 5 hits as well. That'll do it for us. Red Sox baseball is coming up next here on your home for the Red Sox. WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Thanks to Kevan Miller. Thanks to Buster Olney. You can check both of them out by checking out our podcast channel on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Go Red Sox. I'll see you tomorrow with the Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV.
WDEV at 90 is brought to you in part by